assets or wealth, and then on the basis of that observation, we pay our advance tax. I'm not talking about the final income tax. There you have a format. Just for paying the advance tax, you look at this and you infer that by observing what you have been doing all these years, and by observing what you have on hand, you pay the advance tax. What are you doing? How is this relevant to the modern pedagogy? Let's have a look. A child looks at a zebra and says horse. And according to Piaget, this is a schema. And the adult who is with the child tells the child, no, sweetheart, this is not a horse. This is a zebra. It has got stripes on its body. So the child will then probably look at a tiger and say zebra because it has got stripes. But over a period of time, the child, through a process of assimilation, learns that this is not a horse, but it is a zebra. So what the child has achieved is an inference through the observation. Second one is upamana. Upamana is knowing through analogy and comparison. So you compare, you have your differences, differentiation, comparison. You can have your Venn diagrams. Now, what is this called in modern pedagogy? Analysis. See how relevant it is. And the next one is Arthapati. Just give me a minute. Arthapati is knowing through circumstantial implication. For instance, you want the student to work in an examination. It is but logical that you want to have success in the exam. What you need to do is to have regular study. It's not rocket science. Now, in the modern, for example, this one more example here, success of the experiment lies in the pre-arrangement of material. For that matter, even if you have to try out a new recipe, you keep all the ingredients ready. You keep it there. And then you start trying out the new recipe, which is also a kind of an experiment. And the last two, one is anupalabdhi. Anupalabdhi is absence of evidence. Now, the NCF talks about the dogs did not bark at night. Modern pedagogy has no parallel to this. I could not find it, at least. Now, anupalabdhi, the dogs did not bark at night. Can it also give you some sense of why the dogs did not bark in the night? Would make sense to find out? Sherlock Holmes would. So why do you think the dogs did not bark at night? What could be the reason? Let's spend just 1 minute talking about that. Why do you think the dogs did not bark at night? They bark every night. Tonight they didn't bark. No? I can't see the chat now with my... Jayashree, could you read out?
There's nothing on the chat. There's nothing on the chat.
Nothing on the chat. All right. The dogs did not bark. Maybe because they are dead. Maybe they have been taken by the pound. Dog pound. Isn't it? So they didn't bark at night. Let's move on to the next Shabda. Shabda refers to the guru or the teacher. Now, in today's parlance, in today's pedagogy, what is it? Vygotsky talks about the zone of proximal development and more knowledgeable one. The zone of proximal development is that where the child can study on his own and grow. Whereas the more knowledgeable one will help the child to grow beyond the zone of proximal development. But the more knowledgeable one need not be a person who is old. A teenage child, teenage student who teaches his grandmother how to use a smartphone is the more knowledgeable one. Are we good so far? You know these? Anumana, Upamana, Arthapati, Anupalabdhi, and Shabda. And the first one, what was it? Pratyaksha. Now, I have tried to relate this to Kolb's experiential learning cycle. I don't know how many of you know Kolb's, so we'll spend a little time in understanding what Kolb's cycle is. Kolb's cycle has got 4 stages: concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Now, concrete experience is when you do something by hand, you get the concrete experience. Reflective observation, what does it entail? From the observation, what were the difficulties? Did everyone get a chance to participate? Did I stick to the agenda? Let's take, for example, the students are given a project to work on, and they're working together. Now, there is a leader, team leader. He can think, what were the difficulties that we faced? And did I give a chance to everyone to participate? And did I stick to the agenda? What is that leader doing? Reflective observation. In abstract conceptualization, you find the reason. Why was success a success? Why was failure a failure? Why should it be done in this way? Can it be done in any other way? This is abstract conceptualization. Active experimentation. How do I do better than this? I'll give you one more example of a field trip. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at this field trip. Concrete experience is the field trip itself. Reflective observation would be, what were the problems faced? How were they resolved? Abstract conceptualization, apply the experiences to find out what went right or didn't and why. Active experimentation would be to find a place, route, and lastly, how do I better it this time? Now you have to match Kolb's with the Pramanas. I hope you're able to do that. All right. Now what goes with concrete experience? I want to hear it this time.
Pratyaksha.
Pratyaksha. All right. Who said that?
Payal is written in the chat.
Okay. Reflective observation.
Inference.
Yes. What would you call it as far as Pramanas are concerned?
Anuman.
Yes.
Anuman.
Correct.
Yeah.
Abstract conceptualization, what would it be?
Abstract, will it be Upaman?
Yes, you're right. Then experimentation.
That will be Arthotpatti.
That will be
Artha Utpatti, right? It is actually.
Arthapati. Arthapati.
It's Utpatti, I think. Artha Utpatti.
It's called Arthapati in the.
Yeah, it's double TI, so I think it's Artha Utpatti, something to come out with meaning.
Yeah, Utpati is Utpanna.
Ha.
Utpanna.
So Arthotpatti, would it be Arthotpatti?
Maybe. I don't want to experiment because the NCF said Arthapati, so I just copied it.
Okay. So abstract would be Arthapatti.
Abstract would be Upamana. I've written them.
Yeah, right.
You can see them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You are the savior for the rest of the group. All right. Let's now go to poll.
Viveki, will you conduct a poll?
Is it visible, Jashi?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Can we all take the poll? We'll spend 30 to 40 seconds on this. Are we getting responses, Viveki?
No, nobody's replying.
They can't see it?
No, we can see it.
Yeah,
I
we
hope
can.
everybody can see it.
Nobody has answered.
I have submitted, ma'am.
Yes.
I submitted, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. We'll wait for 20 seconds more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ending the poll.
Yeah.
Can you see the results?
No,
I can't see.
results
No.
are not.
Okay. No idea why, but okay.
The poll came up again, not the results. Oh, Pankaj says he can see. Pankaj, can you see the results?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Oh, very good.
They
Okay.
can't.
Viveki, you want to share the results?
Yeah, just a second. I'll just. Okay. Can you see it?
No, I
No.
can't see the results. It's only the
Okay, I'm
poll
sorry.
again that's come up.
Okay, I'll have to figure this out. I'm sorry.
Can somebody seen the result? That person can share it.
Says that you are viewing your quiz results.
Oh, it's only your own result you're seeing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh,
Correct.
okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, you'll have to just carry
Let
on with
go. Let go.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead.
Viveki, if you can see, then maybe you could just share the results. I'm sure the
No, I really can't. That's why I'm a little confused.
Okay, okay.
That's okay. We'll close this poll and we'll go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So maybe this one, you could, Pramila, you could just say the correct answer for the second one.
That was shown in the question itself. Correct answer is Arthapati. It was mentioned.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now importance of questioning. I don't think I need to read this. You can read it yourself. So we asked 350 questions, but only about 20% of them actually require thinking from the learners. But in ancient India, debating was given the highest priority. Today we call it public speaking is necessary. Let me give you a couple of examples. Story of Nachiketa, son of Vajrasana from Kathopanishad. Nachiketa was 5 years old. His father Vajrasana performed a yagna, and after the yagna they have to give dan. So what he did was he got the cows and he started gifting it to the people as a part of the dan. Nachiketa realized that his father was giving away cows which were not in good health. Some of them were old, some of them were sick, and that is not something that one should do as a part of dan. You need to give something which is worthwhile. So Nachiketa goes to the father and asks him, who will you gift me to? Who will you, mujhe kisko daan doge? So he asked his father repeatedly. And Vajrasava got angry with the son. And he said, I'll gift you to the Lord of Death, Yama Dharmaraja. Now Nachiketa goes to Yama Dharma. Yama was not in his palace. He had gone out. When he comes back, this child is waiting there for him. And Nachiketa has a dialogue with Yamadharma. He is so impressed that he takes his son back and gives him 3 boons. I don't want to get into the boon and take away the time. He gives him 3 boons. So the 5-year-old had the knowledge which could engage the Lord of Death, who was supposed to be excellent as far as debating was concerned. And he could engage that with him. One more example. Gargi and Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya was a learned person par excellence, and Gargi, women were also educated in the Gurukul. This is an example. It is the court of King Janaka. Janaka is giving away the cows with gold attached to the horns. And there is a certain weight also which is mentioned. I didn't think that was necessary. So Yajnavalkya comes and takes away the cows that he thought he should get and takes it to his hermitage. Others are very angry. He can't do that because the contest, there was a contest, and Yajnavalkya thinks he will win hands down. So he takes the cows. But the others are not very happy with it. Then Gargi is the one who engages him in a dialogue. Third one, Adi Shankara and Mandana Mishra, which was not all that old, but Adi Shankara and Mandana Mishra, they used to have debates, and people would congregate to listen to them and learn. So questioning was given a lot of importance, because unless you ask a question, the windows don't open. Windows of learning don't open. Now the point is, the next that we are going to talk about, Panchakoshas, are related to pre-primary education. Now, do the pre-primary kids have the ability to ask questions? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, maximum is
Yes.
They keep asking you, ये क्या है? ये क्यों होता है? ये कब होता है? What is this? Why is the sky blue? They keep asking every time. And we are the ones who keep telling them, quiet. Now for next 5 minutes, nobody is going to talk. We are the ones who are stopping them from asking questions. That is why when the students are at home, I believe they ask something like 50 questions or more per hour when they're awake. But when they come to school, they don't ask 5 questions in a day. So we have to encourage questioning ability in the children. Now this brings us to the 5 koshas. These are sheets which cover every individual. These are the protective sheets. And each sheet has been given a particular name. And it is supposed to deal with a certain area of development. Let us see what they are. Annamaya kosha, which deals with sharirik vikas, physical development. So if we are relating this to pre-primary, what will it be dealing with? Flexibility, strength, and motor development. You cannot give a pencil to a child who is in the junior KG and make that child write. Because the muscles of fine muscle motor control is not developed yet. Now, pranamaya kosha, that refers to life force energy. Now, this is the sheath which deals with self-awareness, which we can introduce self-awareness and yoga at this sheath level. I'm not getting into the all developmental patterns because it will run into a big lecture. Manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha deals with the values. It is also called Maulya Vardhan. Vardhan is growth, Maulya are the values, virtues. So at this time, we can introduce life skills. Yes, there's one thing I forgot to mention. Life force energy, we had introduced yoga in the school. And pre-primary children enjoyed doing yoga. Whereas the secondary, we had a little trouble. Vijnanamaya kosha refers to Baudik Vikas. Baudik is cognitive. 21st century skills are introduced through here. What will be the 21st century skills? I'll answer it myself.
All three.
Yes?
Creativity, critical thinking,
Yes.
communication.
Yes. Is it Chitra speaking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, I recognized your voice. So life skills can be introduced. 21st century skills can be introduced. reasoning, inductive approach, deductive approach, everything comes in here. Ability to do critical thinking, everything related to cognition comes here. Self-actualization, I'm not going to talk about because it's beyond the capability of the foundation level children. For that matter, some of us may not have realized the self-actualization. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Can we have the poll, or it's not going to work? We'll skip it.
Viveki?
Yeah.
I hope it works because I can't see any answers.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
probably not working.
No, wait. We'll wait
Yeah.
like for a minute and then check what happens.
Stories are very essential.
Hmm.
We'll give it 15 seconds more. I hope it works this time.
If it doesn't work, we'll stop the share and we'll have a little talk.
Yeah, we could do that actually.
Yeah. Ah,
Is
It
Is it-
worked.
yeah.
worked.
Thank you.
savior.
So we have 65% who have said extremely essential, and the remaining 35 have said very essential. So, but I'm not able to see how many responses have come in though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's stop here and talk about it for a while.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. So now, many of you have said it's extremely essential. Now, what did our ancestors do? The stories used to be told. The grandmother was the one who used to tell stories. I still remember my grandmother who told me the stories. And the Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these things were in a poetic form. And they used to sing it. And everybody learned it. I'll give you an example. I was teaching in the primary, and I asked the children, how many wisdom teeth, how many teeth does a permanent set have in the human beings? The children were saying, giving me all kinds of numbers. So we made a little they wrote down 3-4 lines. We sang it, and everybody got it right. They were singing it, and they got everything right. 8 sharp incisors are all that I have to cut, chop, and bite food fine. 4 sharp canines are all that I have. The dogs and the cats have them better than mine. 8 premolars and 12 molars help me to chew the food as best as I can. Now, why will anybody forget the number of teeth? That's the power of music. That's the power of singing.
Sure.
That's the power of making things easier to remember. The whole Mahabharata was orally communicated from generation to generation. Okay, we'll go back to share screen.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last Panchadi. Now, the first step is introduction. Now, in introduction, they said you have to introduce in such a way that they are able to see the link between what they have learned and what they are learning. And what are we doing today? We are saying the same thing that link the old and the new concept. And now we have added neuroscience to it, because neuroscience says the synapses will connect better and understanding will be better if they are connected to the old. The new concept, when connected to the old, makes you remember things better. Conceptual understanding. Conceptual understanding will have to be done through experiments, discussion, and inquiry. And what are we doing today? Playway method. And in playway method, what are we doing? Experiential learning. Isn't it? Discovery method. We're including all that they were practicing years ago, and we are calling it by another name. Use a playway method. Next step is practice. So you've introduced the concept, you have made them understand the concept. Now, if they have to remember it, they have to practice it. So we also talk of practice, so I'm not going to talk about it. Practice means keep doing it again and again. But if you do it, if you overlearn, then it becomes a competency. Application is that which is of most, it interested me a lot. The knowledge has to be applied, and that's what we are saying now. Now, differentiation of content and skills. One rule cannot be applied to all, but that's what we try to do. We say now, all those who tried, there was a cartoon which had dogs, fish, elephant, monkey, and some other animals. And the teacher sits there and says, the one who climbs the tree first is the winner. That's what we are also trying to do today. We have one rule and we expect everybody to do well. It doesn't work. What did they do in the Gurukul? Drona taught Arjuna to be an archer. He was a good archer. I mean, he was very good in archery. Bhima was not given the bow and arrow. He used the mace because that was his aptitude. That was his strength. And another thing that I would like to bring to your notice from Mahabharata, for Draupadi's Swayamvar, the suitors had to look into the water or oil, I don't remember now exactly what it was, look into that and see the reflection of the fish, which was rotating above, and hit the arrow into the eye of the fish. What were the concepts that were involved here? If they had to teach this, they had to know the concepts, right? You can't just teach your students something without knowing what goes into it. So what were the concepts that Drona would have taught his students?
Focus.
Sorry?
Focus.
Circles.
Focus.
It was actually looking in one place and putting the arrow in the other direction.
Yes.
So the Arjuna was looking down in the lake and he was hitting the arrow in the opposite direction. So त्याला आपण we call it Lakshya
Lakshya Veda is fine, but
Yeah.
concepts. Arjuna was also trained to be a Shabdavedi.
Yeah.
Listen to the sound and he will shoot the arrow in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now what were the things?
Mhm.
Calculate speed. Yes. Jayashree has written. Calculate speed. Yes. You have to think how much time is taken by the fish to go take one round. If you're shooting an arrow and you're standing like this, you need to know when will the fish come here? And you need to shoot an arrow. You need to know the speed of the fish rotating, and you need to know the speed of the arrow so that it hits the eye.
Correct. Yeah.
And he's looking down and shooting. So what are the other things that he'll have to think of?
Sound maybe.
When the ray of light passes from one medium to another, what happens to it?
Mirror image, reflection.
Refraction.
Refraction. He has to take into consideration refraction.
Hmm.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this application exercise was something which was shown in Mahabharata. So you can imagine how well learned our seers were. Multidisciplinary teaching, yes. All right, let me go back. I just have one little bit to show you, then I'm done. Lastly, spreading of the knowledge. Spreading of the knowledge. Those days, how do you think the word spread? By word of mouth. But today,
Media.
Social
media. Social media. Okay, so now I'm done. You can ask your questions. It would be nice to ask questions. If you don't
Or
ask it,
maybe
only
what-
ask two things.
yeah. Or maybe just start with what struck you, what struck you really, and what was interesting, and even that if you could share. Or if you have questions, you could ask.
What struck me was there is so much that we as Indians have done, and we are not aware. We are not aware. And it has been put in the NCF. How many of you have read it? We should have taken a poll on this.
I have gone through the NEP, but NCF I don't think I've read it. But NEP I've gone through entirely and I have made my notes on it also. I was little curious about how this is going to be implemented from the schools. Would you be able to throw some light on that?
I told you I've linked the Pramanas to the Kolb's experience.
No. In a sense, actually, how it will be brought in practice, the NEP, that I was a little curious about.
No, let's not talk of NEP. Let me just, because it'll take me on another tangent.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll just restrict our questions and answers to what we have done today.
Okay.
How that will be implemented, I've already told you about Kolb's experiential cycle.
Yeah. That
It is all about development. You need to know what things you need to teach where. And Panchadi is also, I think, very clear now.
Yeah.
Because it's 600 odd pages, 400 odd pages, it's difficult to read.
Yeah.
I understand that. No questions? I have not seen the chat. Let me
We
see.
can wait for a minute. I'm sure.
There's Dipali. Dipali has raised her hand. Yeah, Dipali. Dipali, you can unmute yourself. Dipali Misra.
I don't think she's aware she's put up her hand. Anybody else? When you don't ask a question, it means two things to me. A, everything is clear. B, it's not clear.
No, ma'am, it's clear. But we feel that we need to know a lot to ask questions even about this.
No, you don't need to know a lot because I don't know. I was just interested, so I kind of mapped it to what I thought we could use it for.
Ma'am, we didn't talk on the Anandamay Kosha.
Anandamay Kosha, I said I didn't want to talk because pre-primary children cannot achieve actualizing.
Yeah.
I don't think even I have achieved it.
Yeah.
So, a small question, Pramila. So, in the NCF, the Panchakoshas are actually kind of suggested for the pre-primary?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's suggested for the pre-primary. Because it's all about development and it must have been planned in such a way that it makes sense to have it in the pre-primary.
Of course, that doesn't mean that you should not have it, but then it probably reinforces the fact that we should start it from the pre-primary and not kind of wait. Yeah.
See, I'll share with you an instant. When I first took over this particular school, the parents wanted cursive writing to be introduced in the kindergarten.
Right.
And to their mind, any handwriting that is connected, the letters are connected, That is cursive.
Mm.
So I said, I had to explain to them, excuse me, what cursive writing is and why it should not be, why we should not make the children do. Marian Richardson's script, as said, is what we are going to introduce.
Yeah.
There were still a couple of people who argued, but then we won them over finally.
Yeah, yeah. Even in a recent workshop that we conducted, there were teachers who were saying that, we want our children to write in cursive handwriting.
Yes.
So I don't know, it might be very interesting to see how many in our group today, how many schools really insist on cursive writing for small children. So
It's cruel and inhuman, I think.
yeah.
So finally, I told these parents, you will write a letter and give it to me in cursive writing, handwritten, not printed. And if you're able to do it from the word go, then I will introduce cursive writing. They backed out. None of us write cursive.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So the finer muscle control has to has to develop.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I just wanted to ask a question, ma'am.
Sure.
I think NCF is more like a stepping stone towards NEP. So do you suggest
Yes.
The pre-primary teachers to read it thoroughly? NCF.
See, NCF has got things for school education, and you need to see which is the area where pre-primary is dealt with. Now, I don't have the NCF here, and I don't remember the page numbers or the chapters. It's very clearly mentioned. I think everybody needs to see it, because what I've shared with you today, not many people have read it.
Yes, exactly. I have read NCF, and therefore I was just asking you that.
Yeah, they have to read. Every teacher needs to read. But you can't read the whole thing at one go. So
Yes.
read what is relevant. Read the TOC first and choose what you need to read.
Right, right. Thank you.
Just a request to everybody, if you can just fill in the Google form, the link for which has been sent on the chat. So this is the feedback form for today, and you will be getting your certificates. So please see that you mention the name in the form the way you would like it to be in the certificate. You will be getting participation certificates, and the name will be as you write in the form. So please do send the form, and we'll send you the certificates.
Can you quickly tell me what were the 3 things that you liked in today's workshop?
Yeah.
You can write, you can tell me. This is for my feedback.
You can even unmute and speak. We would love to hear your
I would like to
voices.
see and hear.
How nice the connections are made from the ancient, the terms even, the stories and the concept.
Okay.
The connections. Okay.
The connections.
Even Susan says the connections were the ones which were the highlights.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Chitra. Now, one thing that you will take back home. One thing that you will take back home. Rex, what would it be?
Tina says the importance of storytelling.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Tina.
And two things that you remember.
I'll remember that you're a good storyteller, and therefore use storytelling as a technique.
Thank you, Cecilia. Now you can fill the form. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you so much.